Hi, today we are going to see how Maquet Hcu 40 is operated. The on-off button is at the rear. This is what you see with the startup screen. This is the rear of the heater cooler, and this is the cardioplegia in and out. This is the patient side, or otherwise called as oxygenator, and this is the in and out. And what you see is the open position, and this is the off position, and this is how you disconnect it. And this is the Hansen connector, and this is how we connect the inlet port, and this is how we connect the outlet port. So just basically just push it in and then open. First thing first, once we connect the water lines to the oxygenator and the cardioplegia delivery system, we need to de-air the system first before we use it. To de-air, we need to go to the tap, and then so this is the patient side, de-air. So make sure, because de-airing is carried out with ice water, asystole could happen if patient disconnected. So we have to make sure the patient is not, the lines are not connected to the patient. It's just to the oxygenator. So confirm it, and the same for cardioplegia. The heart is the symbol of for cardioplegia. So click on de-air, the same thing, and then de-air it. It takes about roughly a minute to de-air the whole system. As I mentioned earlier, the de-airing is done with the cold water, which is about 3 to 4 degrees centigrade. The symbol here indicates it's de-airing. That means you can see the arrow mark facing upward. That means the cold water is pumping to the system on either side, for the patient and for the cardioplegia. Now the patient side is de-aired and the cardioplegia system is still de-airing. And now both system is de-aired, and if you go to the home button, and you can see the water temperature, it's about 4.5, and cardioplegia is about 7, and it's slowly rewarming up to 37 degree. This is the set temperature of 37, and the temperature out for the patient and the temperature out for the heart is it's a current water temperature, which has to warm up to 37 before the out temperature is reached up to at least 37 before we connect the lines onto the patient. In the meantime, while they're circulating, we can look at all the settings. This is the hotkeys. When you go on bypass, you want to cool the patient. Rather than selecting the select button and going down the temperature, you can just click on the blue man, which is set down to 32. You can just confirm that. That's a hotkey, which literally going to cool the water down to 32 degrees centigrade. And when you're rewarming, all you have to do is click on the red man. Now the hotkey has been set to 38 degrees centigrade. Confirm it. Now the set temperature is up to 38 degrees centigrade. In some units, they want to give hot shot before the cross clamp is off. At that point, rather than changing the cold tank temperature by setting this, you can just click the red hot. The temperature being set to 37.5. All you have to just confirm this, and you can see the set temperature is gone up to 37.5 instantly. Otherwise, you have to click the temperature set, highlight it, then you need to go down, or you have to come up to 37.5. So you can see it takes some time. So you can just set up 37 and then confirm it. But hotkeys are really useful. And then we can see the settings. So this is the setting button. If you click on that, and this is the alarm history, cleaning and emptying, hotkeys, patient temperature setting, and this is the water flow, and this is the tank. You can set the system lock or hotkey for the cardioplegia temperature, and this is the system. So if we go one by one, we can see the alarm history, and these are the alarms we had. Confirmed that. And cleaning, if you click on that, so it needs cleaning in 5 days time. This rotating knob, you can keep selecting between that, and you can confirm that one. And then hotkey temperature. The hotkey temperature is set up to 38.8 degree. You can just highlight like this. You can go down by pushing this number, or you can just keep rotating this knob to get the temperature. I've just set the temperature to 38. That should be fine. And the same thing for if you want to cool down the patient, and this is the same thing. You highlight it and then you can just set the temperature for Hotkeys. Once you've set the temperature, to confirm it, just click the blue tick. And the next one is the water flow. So the water flow is running about like 14.6 liters per minute on the patient side, with a pressure of about 0.6 bar. That's been set by the manufacturers. That should be fine. If you look at the cardioplegia side, the pressure is almost the same, 0.6 to 0.7 bar, and the water flow is about like 8 liters. That should be fine. And then tank. If you click on the tank, and that's the first column says whether the tank is full or not. So now up to the green mark, it's fine. This is the icing level. So you can set the ice level, tank, at what level of ice do you need, whether it can be 1/3 or 2/3, or if you click on that, you can select that, and if you want to freeze the whole tank, you can do that, like whether it's 1/3, 2/3, or the full tank. We don't need the full tank frozen. That means there is not going to be any water circulation. So make sure it's up to like 2/3. Just confirm it. The same thing with the cardioplegia side as well. Once you're happy with the icing, then you can say okay to that. And then this is the system lock. At the moment it's been deactivated. You can set the screens to be locked at 30 seconds, a minute, or 2 minutes. Then every time you want to change the temperature, you need to unlock the system. And this is the hotkey for the cardioplegia temperature. The maximum temperature set up to 37.5, the minimum temperature up to 4 degrees centigrade. So that should be fine. And then we're going to the system. We have to make sure it's connected to the main. And another thing is, this heater cooler has to be plugged into the mains 24/7, because the cooling chamber makes the ice constantly. So if you switch it off, then the ice get de-iced. When you come to use for the next day, you don't have any ice to do the case at all. So as a main thing, you have to plug this machine 24/7. And then this is the system information. It says when last been serviced and everything. And then brightness and volume. So at the moment, you can see the brightness and you can see the volume. The volume is quite loud. If you want, you can just come down by pushing this button and then confirm it. And then the pressure limit. So the maximum pressure is 1.5 bar for the patient, and maximum pressure for on the cardioplegia side is 1 bar. Home button. From this screen also you can set your temperature. All you have to do is, you can see T set, that's the temperature set. Click on that and then highlight it. You can just go down by this, or by rotating this knob you can go down to 37 degrees centigrade. And then once you set the temperature, then confirm it. The same thing for the cardioplegia side. Set, you can just go up, or you can just come down. I'm happy with 4 degrees centigrade. I'm just going to leave it at that point. Once you finish the case, everything is done. Then you need to stop the top pumping, and then you need to go back to the tap. Then you need to empty the tubes. So before empty the tubes, you have to make sure the bypass lines are off the table. In case if you empty the tube before the lines are off the table, and if the patient crashes and you want to go back on, then you have to de-air the system. At that point, as I mentioned earlier, the water temperature which is going to de-air, it's about like 4 degrees centigrade. So we don't want the patient to be cooling down at that point. So once the lines are off the table, then you can empty the tubing. Empty the tubing, and they say really want to empty the tubing and the heat exchanger. Yes, and the same thing for the patient side as well, and then leave it. Now you can see the little arrow mark which coming towards the tank. That means the water is all emptying back into the system. And you can see the little snowflake. That means, you can see here as well, that means the tank is still making ice. So it's making the ice constantly. So I can just show you the tank. And you can see the water just being emptied now. And you can see 3 chambers. This tank has been set to 2/3 to make the ice. So this 2 tank is for the patient side, and this tank is for the cardioplegia side. we have to absolutely make sure that we have enough ice for the case. So now the patient side's been empty, the cardioplegia side is still empty. What this means is the patient side system is tubings are empty and it's ready to de-air now. Now both sides are empty, the patient side and the cardioplegia side has been empty. Then you can just go back to the home button. This is the final screen. You might ask, where is the heating tank? Because you've seen the cold tank and you can't see the hot tank. Hot tank is just below. From here to here is a cooling tank, and then below is the hot tank. Hot tank opens only when you are pumping the hot mode. If you are in the cold mode, then the cooling chamber will cool the patient down.